Often when you go to a local store and buy something, you only feel one feeling: excitement. And in some occasions, that excitement truly pays off. In the case of Skylanders, that is certainly true. And with most of them being readily available in the secondary market, any new Skylander you can purchase could become your next favorite. While some Skylanders live up to people's expectations, others are left to rot in storage boxes. Portal Masters, welcome to Skylanders Code First Impressions. I honestly have a bit of a soft spot for the Giants. No, not all of them are spectacular, but they are interesting with the mythology they provide. When I was a lot younger, I was shocked to find that they were the first 6 Skylanders, of course representing their respective elements, and they were Skylanders that took down the Archeans, who were ruling the Skylands at the time. Also, my collection did start with the Giants, so that definitely makes me appreciate the Giants a lot more. And as of last year, I finally managed to get the 3 Giants I was missing from my Giants collection, and now I have all 8. But today, let's look at 2 of these Giants, and also a Giant that I previously owned, but just in a better color scheme. Now, of course, as usual, the opinions I make on these Skylanders are not final. This is just my first impression. And with Skylanders I already owned, like Crusher here, I'm going to pretend that I never owned my previous figure, so I can give an unbiased ranking. And of course, the ratings are as follows, with 1 out of 5 being the worst, and 5 out of 5 being the best. Now, let's get some gameplay in, shall we? Let's start with Granite Crusher.
It's Crush Hour!
For those who knew me since last year, you'll know that Crusher is one of my most disappointing Skylanders. And when pretending to try out Crusher for the first time, I was expecting myself to come off hating the guy. But turns out I was wrong. No, rather, I got bored of him. When you first get Crusher, expect him to be a short-range Skylander, as he physically requires the enemy to be right in front of him in order to deal damage. This is already a hindrance to his moveset, and although it possesses the unique ability to turn enemies to stone, which is helpful dealing with crowd control at least, it doesn't deal any damage. And my goodness, he is so slow. With all these factors combined, you get a really bland and insipid Skylander, with no proper intrigue to his attacks. Fortunately, his Granite variant is a lot more nicer than his original design, but good design can only get you so far. Bounce, on the other hand, was a lot of fun to play as. But at this point, it's kind of a given with these tech Skylanders. They're all pretty great. And we also all know who's the main exception to this rule. Like Trigger Happy and Drobot, shooting his primary attack is super satisfying. But unlike Drobot, his secondary attack is also pretty helpful. His secondary attack shoots up a rocket in the air and automatically targets an enemy for you, which is pretty clever stuff. However, that ability is also his one detriment, since it automatically locks on target. Sometimes instead of hitting the enemies, it hits something from the background. Like for instance, while I was shooting at these enemies, one of the attacks landed on the sheep instead, which was pretty annoying. Yet, that flaw is only minor. I still had a lot of fun with Bouncer, and he's definitely reinforcing my love for the tech element in general.
Hail to the wheel!
At first glance, I never really had an opinion on Thumpback, and now that I finally played as him for after so long, I can 100% confirm that Thumpback is a Skylander from Skylanders Giants. I'm really surprised on how good his main primary attack actually is. It deals a fair amount of damage, and it's ranged. His secondary move is kind of clunky though, and I don't really use it to improve his speed, as he's a very slow Skylander. Thumpback is a fine Skylander, and the only real exceptional thing about him is definitely his accent. My goodness, it sounds great. Now here's that moment that you've been waiting for, the ranking. Quickly apologizing to all Crusher fans out there, most notably Chaos Crusher, but my apologies. In my opinion, I just find Crusher so boring. But if you take the other Crusher that I own into account, then I'm most pleased to say that Crusher gets a lot better with upgrades. Faring a lot better, we have Thumpback. Though I enjoyed my playthrough with him, I found myself using his main attack and main attack only. So, unsurprisingly, at the top, we have Bouncer. He's a Skylander you can absolutely adore from the start, and I'm pretty excited to continuously upgrading him. Unfortunately, this wraps up this video, but do you agree or do you disagree with me? I'm open to any opinions. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. And stay tuned for the next episode where we look at some Swap Force Skylanders.